The internet has come a very long way since its conception in the 80s, evolving from the military and academic network ARPANET to the web that we all know and love today, something that's so deeply ingrained into worldwide culture that the United Nations declared unrestricted access to it a human right in 2011. To be declared a basic human right, it must be much more than the cat-sharing network we all know it is. Indeed, the internet is the ultimate medium of communication, information, and culture, with people engaging with each other from worlds apart. By posting that tweet, you're interacting with not only your close friends, but with Australians, Swedes, politicians, celebrities, criminals, pretty much anybody who has internet access. But that tweet you're sending is not just a tweet. You're taking part in a modern technological revolution by spreading ideas and ideals and values. That cat picture that was just so cute you had to send it to all your buddies is much more than just a cat picture. It's a statement. It has a deeper meaning. A message is trying to convey about you, the cultural values and personal ideals you hold dear. And people all over the world are engaging with the ideas put forth by your cat picture. Okay, so maybe the cat picture specifically doesn't mean anything really deeper like that to you, but the internet is, above all else, a realm of ideas. A place, a way, to share your thoughts to the mass public. It's the printing press of the 21st century, and if the history of the printing press tells us anything, it's that ideas can be dangerous. Now, I support the right to unrestricted internet access and the general availability of its use. It would be hypocritical of me not to, considering how much time I spend browsing my favorite sites and the fact that this video exists at all. But the tendency of the internet to congregate around certain content, certain ideas, is pretty undeniable to anybody who looks carefully enough. It's just part of the nature of how the web is organized for content to go viral, or, more importantly, for like-minded people to seclude themselves into their own little cliques. In fact, that's not even just the nature of the web. It's human nature to segregate into individual groups. This segregation just happens differently on the internet, since, as a realm of ideas, you can't really divide people by physical characteristics. Instead, you divide them by what they believe. This comes as almost a more natural method of segregating communities than the historically precedented styles like race, because people don't like it if they're disagreed with or told they're wrong, and will therefore seek out people that parrot their beliefs. The resulting communities already are, massive echo chambers, as their members only engage with people who they hear saying the same things. And as such, the rift naturally divides, as these groups become more isolated from each other, and as their internal dialogues become more extreme. With the fostering of the extremism within their dialogues, these groups tend to become more susceptible to being upset by certain types of viral content, which often leads to tangible consequences to those involved. Offline, see the case of Justine Sacco, as John Ronson details in his book, So You've Been Publicly Shamed. Sacco, a PR consultant and a Twitterer with less than 200 followers, made a joke that was anything but tasteful, and had her life turned into a living hell for it, losing her job and finding herself heckled by thousands upon thousands of people until she had finally had enough and deleted her Twitter account. In another example, see the Fine Brothers, hosts of a popular YouTube channel who, in January, announced something controversial within the YouTube community, that they were going to trademark and license out the ability to create React videos in a pursuit they called React World. React videos, which were the Fine Brothers' claim to fame, are very broadly popular, with dozens of channels with sizable fan bases dedicated to the genre. Predictably, the YouTube community reacted with hostility, and the Fine Brothers lost close to 2 million subscribers and a substantial percentage of their consumer base before being forced to backpedal on React World. Ronson has likened these instances of internet shaming to the public floggings and humiliations of centuries ago, yet doesn't find reason to target or blame these audiences for arguably ruining people's lives or stunting their careers in such ways. It's very much a mob mentality within these communities. The communities themselves manifest as sort of hive minds, each member looking for the gratification that comes with participating in these crusades and helping punish the people who deserve it. This sort of internet vigilantism, fueled by, at worst, viral schadenfreude, pales in comparison to what can happen when communities, especially ones that are geographically based, find themselves fueled by a need for justice. In December 2010, a man died in Tunisia, and in January of next year, Tunisia fell. This man, whose name I'm probably going to butcher, Mohamed Bouazizi, burned himself to death in protest to the injustices done to him by the Tunisian government, and the revolution he inspired would, by a year after the fall of Tunis, result in the downfall of 4 other Arabic governments, with unrest and civil war in the rest of them. This one event, this one death, was made viral by the internet, and with the internet as a tool of revolution, brought about real change on the geopolitical stage, ripples of which are still being dealt with today. These events, the Arab Spring, the internet mob mentalities, and the formation of extremist groups out of the internet's self-segregating system, have been drawing increasing attention to how the internet should be governed. Out of concern regarding Egyptian attempts to take control of their protests in an act of anticipatory governance, the UN declared the internet a basic human right. No nation should be able to deny connection to the entire rest of the world to their peoples. But after that, the lines that should be followed to a solution grow hazy. How should, or even could, people be protected from harassment and humiliation like Justine Sacco faced? And how much, if any, censorship, manipulation, or regulation from governments could help prevent the kind of unrest seen in the Arab Spring, and more recently in Ferguson and Baltimore? Many lawmakers are largely illiterate when it comes to topics like these that need policy, and experts like John Ronson will not find it easy when it comes to resisting issue advocacy, stealthed or not, on an issue like this, since in the West, the internet, as it is integral to modern life. The public is more likely to get involved with issues concerning the internet than anything else, as is evidenced by past attempts on internet legislation. Remember when most of the internet blacked out in response to SOPA and PIPA back in 2012? The public will have no issue with engagement on this topic. It will be the public, the internet, ironically, that will pose the real questions as to how to proceed with this issue. Is it ethically correct to stymie the growth of the internet to protect those who use it? And if it was regulated at all, would it even still be the internet? The change would be significant, and it's likely parts of the culture that are unique to the medium would die. If an individual geopolitical entity attempted to pass laws to manipulate internet use in a way different than another does, what kind of divides would that cause? How would it affect the ideological lines that already define the webscape today? Is it perhaps time to dismiss the ability of countries and governments to legislate on the issue altogether, and leave internet policy to the UN or to the individual companies and websites that run it? Or should there be any policy or regulation passed at all? Does the world benefit more from the semi-anarchical system of trading ideas globally that's already in place than it suffers from that same system's quirks? The future of the internet is still undefined, but it is still the realm of ideas, which means that you still have time to make yours heard.